You good to go, Stork?
Yeah, I'm good to go. I'm whenever y'all ready. I was just waiting for people to show up, but if this is the crew, let's roll.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm
All
recording.
right. Cool, cool. So I mean, this is just a basic class where, just for the newer people. I know, I was reading throughout the day, and a whole bunch of new people were asking questions on, how to get into entry, what is candles, and so let's go over it. The more we practice with the stuff, the better we become, and that's the whole idea. Um, when you do something repetitively, you become good at it. If you do it right, at least. So, I mean, before we start, how many people here just started, like 3 months or less? Nobody? Yeah, no,
What'd you
no.
say?
How many people here just started, like 3 months or less, like very new to the game?
Kind of new. Like I've been doing it for a while, but I don't really know anything.
All right. Okay. So, I mean, when you're, I understand how when you first start in the market, it's a very you'll when you first enter the market, especially if you get a couple wins under your belt, you have the most confidence in the world. And then kind of the market kind of shows you reality. It kind of wakes you up. So in order to really get the hones of the market, you have to understand few basic ideas of the market where demand and supply is. I mean, that's just economics 101. Um, the way I could explain things as far as like economics 101, supply and demand is hand sanitizers. When COVID happened, nobody cared about hand sanitizers. I mean, dollar 50, two for a dollar shelves. But when COVID happened, supply became limited. Everybody had demand for hand sanitizers, and I know myself. I pay like $8 for a bottle, like a small bottle. So supply becomes limited, demand goes up, and the price goes up. Same thing how the market works, um, and vice versa. But it's not like it's so easy to understand. I mean, it is easy to understand over repetition, but it's not so easy to understand because it's not like, oh, COVID, you got to wash your hands and everybody's telling you. It's a pressurized point in the market where most day traders and algorithm, most importantly, is algorithm. If you understand the concept of just basic reality of the market, 85% of the market is traded through bots, algorithms. Uh, Usually, when you're buying and selling something to somebody, is usually a bot. So if you're if you're playing the game, you should be playing it like a bot does. And algorithms do. They're set up by highly owned institutions, hedge funds, market makers, and they key in pre, uh, Pacific areas in the market, a demand zone where buying starts going in. And I've seen something on YouTube. It was a Citadel, but in 1 minute they traded like 15,000 shares, like 15,000 times. Like bot sell, bot sell, bot sell. It's ridiculous how high speed these bots are, these algorithms are. So over the years, I've learned a lot of different trading styles, different types of different, but like Odin was talking about yesterday. Um, when you're new in the game and you're trying to get a game plan, stop trying to change your game plan here, there, here, there, here, there. Try to hone in with something that works. Have yourself a journal, write down your trades, and understand where you went wrong. Because there's softwares these days. Like when I first started, it was a lot different. YouTube was out, but nobody talked about it. There was no, Wall Street bets. There was no stock twits. It was a secret society basically. But now it's more open, and you have a lot of more. Like for example, Trade Hub, great community, 14,000 plus people. You could ask questions all day long, and there's somebody always wanting to help you. I didn't have that, so if I could save a lot of people, if anybody here, anybody who's been trading, if they could save you some headache and learn and instead of learning in 2 years, you could get it down in 3 months. You're well in front of where most of us older people did. Um, I've had a lot of trials and stipulations, and I've come to realize my game plan is little chips, small piles make big piles. If you could just imagine, if as a new trader, you could have $1,000 account. If you could just make $30 a day for 2 years straight, your account will be phenomenal. It would be amazing. So the way I strategize and the way I trade is I look for only 10 to 15%. I mean, obviously I take the 30s and hundreds, and I look for plays that are short squeezes and stuff like that. I try to maximize my gain. But when I'm day trading, especially, I have a 10% cut rule and a 15% gain rule. If it falls below 10%, I cut, no matter what. Because in this option world, you could always get back in. You don't have to keep averaging down. I'm sure everybody's done this. I know I've been a witness to it millions of times, many times. Um, you get a 15, 20, 30% gain, cool. The next play, you get a 10% gain, cool. The next play, you get a 20%, cool. And then you have a bad play. But but if you let your losers keep running and just become a loss, your portfolio always takes one step front and two steps back. I mean, if you think about it, you get 20, 30, 20, 30, and then you let a 100% gain go, loss go, you're never really establishing yourself in a position to gain. And in this market, I only focus on compounding my account. Just little chips, little chips. It was $30, then it became 40, then it became 50. And now 12 years later, I'm having days of 20, 30, 40,000. And it wasn't an overnight success. I've had a lot of banging on my head against the wall, cussing myself, losing sleep, shit, crying myself to sleep because I had to learn the hard way because I didn't have these tools in my disposal disposable for people to show me and really hone in what to look for. And it's a great community. So that being said, let's go into like basic chart reading. Basically, we can go as far as the crowd goes. What do y'all want to see more? Do y'all want to see like a choppy market, or do y'all want to see a flat market, or a bull market, or a bear market? Like as far as intraday trading goes, basic candles understanding and setting up. Can y'all hear me, or am I just been talking to myself the whole time?
No, we can't hear you, bud.
No,
Oh,
we can hear you.
okay. It
How about
happened to
oh,
me before. I've had where I've talked for 10 minutes straight and then disconnected, and I literally was talking to myself for 5 minutes straight. So thanks for thanks for that. So I mean, we'll just go to a specific point in the market. Um, let's go to the 1 minutes. We'll go to replay. And usually when I'm on the weekends, that's why um, on the weekends, I usually do this practicing. I mean, I just sit down and draw charts, sit down, draw charts, and really try to hone in my skills. Um, if I'm a new person here, a lot of people don't know me, and then I know a lot of people from different other discords, but I've been in the market for 12 years now. I've had many trials and speculations, and I just want to show y'all something that has found success for me. Uh, whether it may be successful for you or not, that's a different situation, but you could always get somebody's different style and kind of contour it to your way. We all have different personalities, all have different risk tolerance, we all have different positions in life. So you have to really, make yourself a game plan, but talking to other people here and there and getting ideas, it's a great thing to do. So I mean, if we're looking at a, well, this is so fast. I didn't mean this to go so fast. Let me speed this down. Okay, so I mean, okay, you know what? Let's start fresh, like a day where it's just started, like early in the morning, like when you're waking up. We'll do that. The 14th. I don't know what date exactly this is. July 14th. Okay. Okay, so basically this is new day and we stop. All right, so before I even start day trading of any type of source situations, I like to come and put in my my resistance and my supports. So I put it in a 1 day channel, 1 day time or 1 day chart, and I draw in my specific demands and supplies. Now, if you don't understand what a demand and supply is, the specific areas where rejection and acceptance was happened. So basically right here, it's had, like, if I put this up over here, every time it kind of hit this area, either it dumped, accepted, or bounced. So this would be a specific demand zone for the market, an area where either it was respected or rejected. And so I put on the one day chart, 1 day charts, and then I just go in through filling in my demands and supplies areas. So that way we have an idea where a next move can be. So once we're done with the 1 day chart, I do the same thing on the 4 hour chart. And I just keep going down until I find really good areas of even on the littlest points in the market. So for example here, and then the way I like to do it is like these areas, I make them thicker and kind of change the color so that way you can understand as a bad color. Um, the darker, the oh man, I messed up. Well, we'll just keep those blue. Get it? And I change it to different colors, so that way we can, and also different like lengths, the thickness in the bars basically. Um, so that way we really could get a specific areas in the market where we can actually hone in. And if you're new to the market, I highly suggest you really try to learn how charts are set up, because options can be a very risky thing. They can be. Of I When I first got into the market, I learned how to trade commons, and when I got into options, the first play I had like 220%, and I instantly fell in love. I was like, wow! In like 17 minutes, I made like 220%. But the next few trades, it was like 70% loss in 20 minutes. I was like, wow, this moves really fast. So entry and exit, entry and exit is the most important thing you could do as far as an option trader. I mean, we all can kind of understand that even if you're trading commons or um, if you're trading commons or um, options, entry to get into a price, or when you get in, you don't go into a red, is really the most important concept. You get more confident into that play once you kind of, you get in, it starts going up, you have a better confidence, and with better confidence, you get uh, better approach, you get better, you feel better about yourself, you're looking better at the market, but it all comes down to practice, 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 practice. If some of y'all are old enough, the good old once great Allen Iverson said, "Practice." You talking about practice? Who here remembers about Allen Iverson and practice? Are y'all old as me? I know, Odin, you should remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good old
You mean
Iron.
you talk about the game that I blood and give my blood, tear, and sweat to, and you talking about practice? Love it.
Kobe was the same way.
So, same way, same exact way. And then I just go down before I get into any type of, when I get into the market, I get up an hour before. I, go get my coffee, my breakfast, and then, get ready for the market. But before the market starts, I make sure all these lines are drawn before. So that way, when the market starts, I'm ready and prepared. That's a good spot right here. And then I just keep going down. I don't know how a lot of people trade like. I've heard a different type of trading. All right. Give me 1 second, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
Sorry about that. Okay, so let's get back in here. So I know a lot of people have different trading styles. Whatever style works for you. At the end of the day, I have a theory. It's not really the right way, it's just the money way. Make your style work for you. Really understand what your style is, get your plan ready, and really hone it to your skills. It's kind of like music, Some people like rock, some people like rap, some people like it's just what fits for you, right? So when I get into these little situations, I always just draw in my supports and resistance, and then I go even down to the further 1 minute. And I've heard people trade in the 5 minute. I've heard people trade in the 10 minute. I always look at those. I look at the 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, whatever situation it is. Of course, when you zoom out, you get a better viewpoint of everything. You kind of have the bigger picture. But I like to trade in the 1 minute. It really gets to the detailistic of every movement. You kind of understand what those little tickers are. And I've become more comfortable trading in the 1 minute chart. Whatever works for you, that's what I say. So when you draw these little lines in, I missed a few, I guess. Right here. And then right here would be a nice little one as well. And I think we got it. Oh, we missed this one here. And I guess we'll just try this one in. Alright, so I think I pretty much got every demand and supply zone for the intraday. You've got your bigger picture, obviously, and then you go and hone down to your smaller picture. So when I first start trading, I always pull back to the 1 day, look at what the bigger picture may be, and kind of look for different types of patterns that the market is presenting itself. One thing that we can understand from the bigger picture is the channels being formed right here. Let me get that to a better channel. Oh my god. Oh my god. Alright. Here we go. And then I always try to draw a 4-wall channel. That way you really get the middles, the the whole picture basically. And I've seen a lot of people draw different types of channels, but to my understanding and how I learned, um, the way that where are you going? Right, yeah, right there. The way I understood the market is you kind of want to do what the algorithm does. What at the end of the day, again, it's not human beings that are trading; it's robots. So if you understand price action, that's what they're using. It's price action, supply, demand, resistance, and the whole love of the market. So we got our bigger picture here. We see our trend lines from our bigger picture. Then when we get into the smaller picture frames, I do the same thing. I get into the 2 hour and then kind of see where the market is kind of heading. One thing we can see right here is sort of a bear flag that's forming. Oh, thanks. So here's a little wall that's building up here. Newer highs, lower lows. Uh, Newer highs, lower. That didn't make sense at all. Higher lows and higher highs. There you go. And then so we draw these little ideas, so that way we can get into the nitty gritty. Once you start trading, you really want to find these areas and kind of. Oh my God! Why aren't you opening up? There you go. So here we go. So this is the bigger picture with the small pictures and everything in between. If we go down to the 1 minute, kind of the same thing. There we go. And the same thing is forming on the smaller picture frame. All right, so doing all this, the newer people here, do you understand why I did this? If you have questions, please ask. That way we can kind of go through them. Why is it doing this? Oh, tripping. All right, there we go.
But what app are you using?
I'm using Trading View. Trade. What is this? Trading View, right? Yeah, Trading View.
Yeah. Bro,
Trading View.
get some market data on that thing.
Yeah, I am.
It's like $3 a month or something like that.
See, I don't normally I do it for the replays and whatnot, but I really don't use TradingView. I like to use the Weeble chart. Believe it or not, I have better understanding of the Weeble. I like TradingView because of the replays. That's why I pay for the little subscriptions they have or whatnot. But I don't really like when I'm day trading. I don't use it at all. I just do it over the weekends really, so I could replay it. But when I'm actually day trading, I use Weeble chart. Don't know why, but it's been a lot smoother for me. Besides TradingView, I think this is the most popular one. I don't ever hear about anybody else talking about anything else.
Trading View, Trend Spider, but I mean, I would still
Trend
say
Spider, yeah, I've heard that.
Trading View
Yeah.
is definitely the more mainstream,
More
popular
broadly
for the
used.
moment.
Yeah. So I don't know how everybody draws their charts, but what I've learned that channels always have to run in parallel. For example, if you go to a bigger frame picture here, so a lot of people would draw this in, and if it works for you, again, this is not a what is right market. It's a money market. So whatever works for you, and you're making money, by all means, I don't knock the hustle. But I've seen a lot of people do these type of things, which makes sense. That is a wedge forming. But in reality, it's just the bottom of the channel on a demand zone. In reality. But if you're having a better understanding on, okay, so this wedge is forming, here's a demand zone here, and there's the bottom of a channel, well, then that's a really good demand zone to buy it. So whatever which way works for you, I just don't like these wedges because wedges can be very misleading sometimes. At least personally, I just deleted something I needed. Me personally, but again, this is not a right market. This is just a money market. If it works for you and you're making money, by all means, brother, keep doing you. If you're one of those traders that can get consistently 100% returns on options, man, by all means, do you. But oh, did I just back out? What happened? I just did something wrong. Oh my God. All right, that sucked. So I could go back though. Oh, I think I'm good. Okay, cool. All right. So at the end of the day, it's not, like I was saying, it's not a right market. It's not what you thought was, what was right or what was wrong. It comes down to just make money, whatever which way works for you. So on these type of situations, when you have a gap, in the smaller time frames like 1 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute, 15 minute, when you see gaps, they really work. On dailies, they eventually have to cover. Yes, all gaps, especially on SPY. Not basic charts like Microsoft or like Netflix when it gaps 3 times in a row. Yeah, those coverings are pretty much dead in the water. But for SPY, a general market, like the whole market, they 99% of the time they cover. So
Yeah. So not all though. We still have gaps that we have not not filled from way
true.
back, way back in time on Spy. I believe I'd have to go back and look,
That is true.
but
That is
generally,
true.
yeah. I mean, Spy usually does for the most part fill its gaps. Maybe not
Yes,
the
for the
next
most
day,
part.
but eventually.
Yeah. Eventually, like the last one, and we had a 400 gap. I mean, it took like 4 weeks, but eventually covered today. It covered today. So, you know, um, they eventually do, and sometimes they don't, but for the most part, they do. It just kind of depends because if it's covering and you expect it to cover in 2 weeks and you get a 2 week contract, well, then you're, SOL. But if you're playing a longer contract, then you're kind of in a better shape. But there's no such thing as a guarantee. Me specifically, I like trading longer options. I don't trade hardly zero DTs, which I did today 3 times. But if I see the setup, I'll take it. If not, I'll trade longer contracts. Like today on the market watch list, I put in SPY 1 month put. I got it at 3.99, and I'm gonna hold it. I didn't close it. I'm gonna hold it, and let's see where we land. But I mean, I was up 20 something percent. I just have that rejection really made me happy and kind of confident that it's gonna run down. But we'll see. I should have took the profit. It's kind of against my own, my own game plan. But sometimes if you want something good, you got to risk the biscuit. But when you're trading and you're getting, man, my hands are sweating. I think that's why this is doing this. There you go. So, you know, but when you're first starting trading out, try to capture your gains. Be confident in getting 10, 15, 20%. Get confident in that. And then the more you're getting confident in making money in small amounts, you can go to bigger fishes. But at the same time, like I said earlier, just make sure you don't let your loser run. I see it a lot. I mean, I've been in Discords for a while now, and I've talked to a lot of people, and that's usually Achilles' heel to most traders. You know that, and it comes down to like self ego, I guess, in the best term you could put it. Like everybody wants to be right. I want to be right. You want to be right. Everybody wants to be right. But in the market, there's really not your opinion. Your opinion your opinion don't matter at all. The market does what it does, and
And you can simply be right, but your timing just simply be off.
yes,
So,
yes.
you know.
Guys, I remember like a month ago. Remember when we were talking about the 400 gap?
Yeah.
I was eventually right, but 4 weeks later.
Yeah.
you know.
Yep. You can
So
be right in the market, but the biggest thing is you can't really time the market.
true, very true, very 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 true. So like when the day starts running like this, when it's going down slower, I always look for little key areas of resistance. See, right when it's going here, like that bounce right here, I would get this call. I would get this call on a demand zone, but if you go towards a bigger picture, you kind of have to understand the channel that is going down and also the demand zone. So in this type of situation, I would get this call. However, it's risk management. So if this call doesn't work, I'm gonna cut it at 5 to 10% and keep the to live and see another day theory. Because if this doesn't work, I'm gonna play the next zone. If that doesn't work, I'm gonna cut at 5 to 10%. But one of these demand zones are gonna work. So if you're cutting 5%, 5%, and the next demand zone you get a boom, a bounce, a nice little bounce, and you catch a 50%, well guess what? Your day is pretty good. You had 2 losses and 1 win, but you risk managed. And with that 1 loss, you paid off your with that 1 win, you paid off your 2 losses, and you're good. And that's kind of how I generalize the market, how I see the market, and that's how I usually play the market. So this demand zone here, it worked for a cat bounce. So, come on, don't go. So this right here, it was a demand zone. Maybe I drawed it off a little off, but the theory is it went from 379-ish to basically a 50 cents jump, and you could capture that little profit, but at the same time, that's why I have a theory of like 5, 10, 15%, because nothing is truly guaranteed in the market. And if you catch those 15% and you set yourself up for a nice little setup where you see, curl, hit demand zone, starts ripping, you want to play in those type of situations. And then once the market starts moving up, start drawing your channels in. So every time it hits the bottom and it goes up, you kind of have okay, so it hits the bottom, but it's on a trajectory up. Lower highs, higher highs. Lower highs, higher highs. Okay, cool. We're in the channel now. And actually can stay in this position without taking a 10, 15% gain and actually run it and get 100 or 200% gain. So, like that little bounce, it worked. Not much, but it worked. And if you would have grabbed that, I mean, that's not much, maybe a 10, 5% gain, but it's money. And that's something that scalping is all about, is making little bits of money. So it actually worked pretty good. I just think I have let me see. I think I just had the demand zone all off. Maybe so. Yeah. Yeah. Kind of like right here, I guess. Kind of demand area instead of demand zone. Yeah, okay. So that worked. I mean, so that's kind of the theory of a demand area, where to get into a market. You know, if you're so, and Another idea that I give a lot of traders is don't be that person. Like if you cut a 15% gain and then it runs on you, don't sit there and loathe. Oh man, I could have had a 200% gain. What the hell's wrong with me? Why am I doing this? That's a really pessimistic way of thinking everything. That's a horrible way of thinking to begin with. Enjoy your 15% and look for another setup. We can't capture everything, but as long as you're making money and you're compounding your account, then you're good. There's no such thing as a great. I mean, we've had the 1,000% gains. They feel amazing, but they're not an everyday thing. You don't want to hope and pray for those type of moves because most likely or not, you're gonna get burned on those. So if you're catching it and you get into one and it runs 200, 300, 500%, well, more gravy. You just banked. But don't be that person that loads on your mistakes. Understand it, learn from it, and move on. That's a lot of new traders that I've spoken to. That's their problems. They get into the market, then you hear them, oh man, it ran 75%. I only had 20%. Cool, man, you made money. Move on. So that's not a good way of thinking. But so, like on this situation now, when we captured this 15%. Say we close that and we just got our 15%. So now I'm looking for a different type of setup. Now, once this little form happens, I kind of see something before it actually happens. There's maybe a wall that's built, a channel that's building up, and I may anticipate this channel to play. If it plays, it's good. If not, but these are type of setups that I'm looking for. Is situations where I could get into a market and make money. So the double top and you run the parallel in the bottom. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, well, it doesn't. But these are things that I always look forward. And key point example right here. You see the channel? It worked pretty well. So that's a situation where you can make money. Look for little areas in the market, demand zones. But if you looked at it here, if you went back, one thing I didn't try, I think that was the one I deleted. It actually was a demand zone right here. Perfect meetup. Right on the wall, right on the demand zone. You have two confirmations saying that there's a demand here and the market algorithm is looking to buy here. And now you have a wall too. Well, guess what? A good trader will take it. A situational trader will take it. If that doesn't work, well, then cut as soon as your wall doesn't work. Take your 5% loss. It's cool. One thing you have to understand in this market, there's going to be losses. You're going to have a lot of them. It will happen, especially when you're first learning. You're going to learn the hardest way that this market, you're going to have a lot of losses. And it's part of learning. Like, when you go play basketball, you're not going to be a 3-point shooter right off the bat. You got to learn the free throw first. You got to learn how to dribble with the left hand and the right hand. Then when you complete your game, then you're a badass player. But that doesn't come overnight. There's two types. I feel like in the world there's three types of people. There's the people who work hard and grind to get it. They don't talk about it. They just go get it. Then there's people who are born with talent, but they don't do shit about it. And then there's those people who talk about it, but don't do shit about it. You kind of want to really think about where you want to be in life. And I think a lot of trading is not based on trading. It's kind of based on you, like like how you manage your money, how you save, these things happen before you could even trade. Because I mean, if I worked for 10 years and I worked and I busted my butt and I had a managed program where I saved my money and I have $100,000 to play with, I have potentials of getting more profit than the person who slacked off and only had 5,000. Not saying that there's bad with wrong situations, but you kind of know the difference between people who want it and people who don't want it. And I don't mean to point anybody out. I don't know anybody of y'all, but you just gotta have to understand who you are and what you want out of this life, right? That's kind of my theory behind it. So, in these type of ways, we could wait for the actual clearance. I'm glad I should have paused it here. We could actually wait for the top channel because our indication says that there's a channel that's running up, and there's a gap here too, right above it. So now we're playing the gap close and also the channel run. But if you want to be a move getter and go, there's also demand zones here that was above you, 3 of them. Once it popped and broke this main demand supply zone and it became a demand zone now, or what do you want to call it, resistance, and that yeah, it was a resistance. Now it broke into a support. You could play this, or you could capture your gain right here, and that would be a safe bet, because even though the channel set up, there's no guarantee that it'll hit the top of the channel. There's never a guarantee in this market, right? Even though it sets up like that, it may fail. So, just me personally, I would cut here. And if it ran here, then good. But I'm happy with, basically a $4 move or $3 move. In option world, that's like 60, 70%, 80%, kind of, because this is kind of earlier in the day and not towards the end of the day. So, I mean, we're looking at about a 67% gain. Yeah, surely this could get you that extra, 40% and get you over that 100%. Cool. But again, if you think like that, it's a really bad way to think. And you're never going to really progress if you're always living in the past. Kind of like everyday life, right? So, before we move on, any questions? Does any of this make sense? How I set up, how I looked at things, how I actually like measured things. Questions? No questions? Questions?
I don't have any questions.
Okay, cool.
So it would be nice to see the audience get a little bit more involved, because when you're explaining stuff like this, you don't want to feel like you're talking to yourself, because you don't know if other people are understanding what you're saying. So if people don't ask questions, it's kind of hard to get people to either understand or know what topic to cover. So if anyone definitely has questions, ask.
I'm typing questions.
Okay, where are you?
Oh, I'm not even.
Where are you typing them at? Where are you putting the questions?
Market talk.
Okay, hold on. All right, let's see.
I'm sorry, I can't hear. I'm on my phone right now, so I'm kind of stuck on this page.
Okay. The MA 50, 100, 200, how do you use them? Are those the ones you're using, Stork? What MAs or EMAs are you using?
I don't use VWAP nor MA. I don't use none of them. I don't neither. I could eliminate those two. VWAP is a good indicator, and I do agree that VWAP it can help in places, but in reality, it's just channels. And it's just hitting a demand.
The overall middle. It's good for when you're moving towards it or away from it, but as in to use it for, so like gauge wise, clearly if you're above VWAP and you consistently are staying above VWAP, it's a good indication it's going to continue to run that way. Obviously, if you pull back and you hit VWAP, if you bounce off of it, it can be bullish. Obviously, if you cross under it, a lot of people take it as it's reversing. So, I mean, VWAP's kind of just like a center line. So that's exactly how I use it. I use EMAs, but Stork doesn't. So
I don't use EMAs, DMAs, RSIs, MACD. I don't use none of them. I just learned how to read charts. because I
Just
feel like
naked
this is a
trading.
book. Naked trading, just understanding where pressure points in the system are, and where people actually going to look towards buying. And if I'm mistaken, if I'm wrong about it, I'm wrong about it, and I cut and I risk my management.
So to answer your question, Smooth, personally, um, I do use the 50. I don't use the 100 at all. And the 200 I use for shorter time frames. So, I mean, I guess here in a little bit, once Stork gets through finishing what he's talking about, maybe I'll go over how I use them. But I'm going to continue to let him talk on his subject first, and then we'll go over that question.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, this is it's all different type. At the end of the day, I'm doing this kind of for y'all, and we're all here to for the people that don't understand the market as much, or new to the market, or needs a different approach towards it, or whatever situation you're in. And obviously, there's different types of traders here. I mean, I've been following Odin and Mike for a while, and they're killers. So whatever type of style works for you, implement it to you. But don't rely on their style because their style is their style. You got to
Yeah.
switch it up to you,
Yep.
custom
And
made it to what works for you.
we usually tend to lean towards traders that trade somewhat sort of like, well, um, newer people, shall I say, tend to lean towards traders that they understand or the style that they're trying to get into. But no one's going to be the exact same style. Doesn't even matter if I teach you every single way I chart or my strategies. You're still no one's gonna have the exact same viewpoint, even if you guys do have the same sort of style. Everyone's
Yeah,
unique to their own
like we
view of
were
the
saying
market.
yesterday, it's kind of like, at the end of the day, it's kind of like a Bible. We all read a holy book and we have a different meaning on it. And it's how we anticipate it or understand it or how we interpret it into our lives. Because everybody's life is different. So you kind of have the same mentality. Your life is different, your situation is different, your money situation is different. So according it to you, when you see Mike post a $20,000 gain, don't take it like, oh my God, he made so much money, he knows more than me. Be hungry. Try to get there and understand and create a game plan so you can get there. But these type of things that I'm trying to go over, and these are just things I've picked up through the years that works for me. I'm a very technical trader. I like to use charts and patterns and channels, and I'm all about channels. I'm a channel trader. I love channels. As you could tell, like if you're looking at my thing, I just do nothing but channels because channels work for me, and I've done it for so many years that it's just like kind of second nature for me. But maybe for you, channels don't work. Maybe you think it's bullshit. That's all you. I mean, at the end of the day, find what makes money because there's really no right way. It's just the money way. You know, there's so many people sell contracts, people buy contracts. There's straddles, there's strangles, there's man condors. There's so many different styles. Just find the way that works money for you. Period. So I mean, these are basic ideas that I'm using. So as far as like if I'm getting into this here, obviously that there's a top of the channel here and there's a gap here. I might take this trade here, but knowing that there's a gap, I might wait a little longer because if you saw this little wick, it didn't really perfectly touch the top of the channel. Well, maybe I got the channel all fucked up too. So yeah, I guess so. My bad. And excuse my language. I'm one of those pirate mounts. I don't know how to communicate without saying the F word. Like I don't know how to communicate. So if I
I'm
if
so
I
glad you fixed the channel because I
uh,
was wondering that, but I don't
yeah.
use channels, so I didn't know. But I kept looking at it and I said, it's not touching, but maybe I don't know what I'm doing. So I didn't say anything.
Oh no, please ask questions because as we're doing this, I mean I don't know what happened at 12. I just picked a random date and just went with it. So if you're understanding, and this involves practice for me as well. So if I could learn from you, by all means, I can learn from you and you can learn from me. That's the whole idea of a community, is that we band together and we learn and inspire and motivate each other. That's kind of the theory. If we're all alone, then let's not talk to each other. But if we're going to be a group, then let's group and really, at the end of the day, like-minded people. When you band yourself with like-minded people, you bound to have motivation and more success because you talk and deal and everything is based on being successful. But if you surround yourself with, negativity is going to be your outcome. So please ask away. Like that's why we're all here. It's for y'all to understand because at the end of the day, I mean, I make my money. So if I could help you, please ask.
Okay, I got a question. Is that shaping and forming a bull flag?
I mean, yeah. I mean, right now it's a bull channel. Uh, it's kind of you want to see where your bounce is because as you can see, like it's hit the top of the channel, but it picked off a demand zone right here. So knowing that there's a gap here, my next move that I'm looking for is to play this channel here. If it runs up and it hits here and covers this gap, I'll take this put. But if it doesn't do this and it kind of runs, well, guess what? I missed it. Don't force a trade. That's the lesson number I could give you. Number two is never force a trade because forcing one bad trade can have you a bad day, and a bad day can always lead to a bad week, and a bad week can lead to a bad month. So you want to stay as positive and compounded in your account as much as you can. If you can make 20 bucks and you're up 70 bucks the next day, you have more confidence. And the third day, you're like, all right, let's make 100 today. You're more inclined to play the market. But if you have a bad day of $500 loss and you're like, shit, and some people swallow and wallow under misery. And don't be that person. Truly don't be that person because you'll never move ahead in this market. So to
No
be the best,
emotions.
no emotions. Check your emotions at the door. You understand like 85% of these algorithms are traded through the market. And those algorithms are based on your emotions. Shit you not. They are designed by you. Because at the end of the day, it's market maker, institution, hedge fund against retail. Pure same. They want your money. You know, insider information is not a fake thing. People could sit on bars and talk about things. It's not as much as insider if it is people have ways of communicating. And they're all communication is based around you. How to take your money. The backbone of America is built by the labor. And America and the market and every situation in America is built by the middle class and lower class. But the rich take advantage of it. How many times have you heard, a billionaire only paid this much in taxes? you know, and you sitting here, making 200,000, you're like, man, I paid more him. So, you know, this market is really designed with your money in mind. So if you kind of understand that, you want to be more inclined to, you know, playing the market right, if that makes sense. So let's pause this here. My bad. So this was officially not a gap close, but it started running this little side horse right here, the side panel into here. It could drop, but at the same time, it's holding a resistance, a key resistance. So here, I wouldn't want to short or long because it's literally going sideways. Now you're getting into a market where they're trying to kill your contract. Have you ever seen it? Have you ever noticed when you're getting into a market in the morning, boom, 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 big moves, and then around 10 o'clock it halts and it goes sideways for another 2 hours. That sideways is with you in mind. They want to kill your contracts. Simple as put. They want to devalue your contracts. So if you're going to play into the market option world, understand one thing, and when you're doing day trading, you have to understand it less, but it's very important still. But if you're swinging calls or puts, you have to understand it even more greatly. The Greeks, the option Greeks, delta, gamma. Oh, man, now I got to put it delta, gamma, uh, theta, and man, there's one more. Now I just psyched myself out.
There's
Fill me
Rayo.
in with one more. Which one's
There's
the other one?
Rayo. There's
Not
there.
Rio was like that's different, but the other one I'm looking for.
Well, that is a Greek.
Vega.
Huh?
Vega.
Vega. There you go. Vega. So I mean, understand, but the most important thing is data decay, which is data and delta. How much movement you're gonna get per $1, and also the gamma. Gamma is the accelerator. Whatever happens, the faster it goes up, gamma acceleration contracts. The faster it drops, gamma is gonna accelerate those contracts. So those are the three main concepts. Vega is important as well, but the three main concepts are those. Understand where a good delta, and theta is, so you can get a really good hone on what numbers you should look for as far as buying a contract. Today, after I did my last trade, I actually did one more after that, and I kind of screwed myself over. I would have had a better day, but kind of bad trade at the end. But I started watching the options, and you could see based on demand and supply, you could see even when the price goes down, you'll see the puts not really move. I mean, it'll go from 72 cents to 77 cents. And then when it hits the demand zone and it flies, you'll see the calls go to 29 and boom to 60. And then once puts doesn't pay out, you'll see those things fall dramatically. Even the price is going down, you're not getting much movement in the options because first your delta is high and your data is not equivalent to what the option is. And delta obviously is more valued at that point as far as a call goes than a put goes. So those are things you find throughout the years of experience, but really hone into it. Like once we're done with this, I'll get on. I'll ask where I should put this, but I'll put some books on. I have a whole bunch of PDFs on charts, on Greeks, and those are things that you want to sit down and, besides somebody asking you or telling you something, read it for yourself, getting good understanding for yourself. And then once you read it and kind of understanding what you don't understand, that's why community is here. Come back and be like, look, I understand this, but I don't get this. And somebody's always willing to help, be happy to help you.
Oh, that's great. I appreciate that because I'm not
Oh,
an
no
option
problem.
trader. I'm a short trader, and
Oh, you're
I
a short
need
trader.
101 options. Like, where do I start? I did some options about a couple of years ago, but I was directed by somebody to say, do this, do that, do this. Put your money here, put your money there, put your money there. And I didn't know
Right.
why I was doing it. I want to know why am I doing stuff. So I need something that starts me off as to where do I go from the beginning of learning options.
Hey, Rich, once we're done here, where can I put those PDFs at?
We'll have to they get posted by a bot. So basically, you'll have to give them to us, and we'll put your so the we'll have the bot post it, and then we'll have your name.
All right.
I'll just show you later. So
All right.
yeah,
All right, cool. That works. So get with Rich later, and then we're done with here, I'll give him the PDF files, and he'll make it accessible for you.
yep, it'll go in the edu section.
Much appreciated.
No, not a
Um,
problem.
am I the only one on here that got questions?
Yeah, please ask
So
questions.
So to follow up on your question about how you said you don't know how, why buy in here and there when it comes to the contracts. Obviously, starting off, a contract is worth 100 shares. That's equivalent. It's basically the right to buy something or sell something at the strike that you pick by by the expiration date that you chose. So when you're paying for premium, you're really paying for, like, especially farther out, you're paying the cost to have that right of that time. So, it's safer, clearly, if you say pick, 3 months, 6 months, a week, whatever you're playing and your plans, that you think it's going to get there. The farther you go out, the more the premium is. So that's what you're really paying when you go farther out is obviously the price of the volatility between those contracts. Obviously, when the volatility is higher, the premium usually is higher because there's a higher chance that it could either go to the zone you want or whatnot. So it starts there, so that's when you start to have to like correlate your timing with where you think the market's going to be. And you don't always have to, like, for example, if we're playing T-Bolt and you bought a $4 call, or say you bought a $10 call for T-Bolt, you don't have to necessarily hit $10 for you to make money. If you bought it at $7 and we're at $9, at the high of the day, you never hit $10, but that premium, it's worth more. So you can sell that contract at $9 and make the difference of when you bought it at $7. And that's mainly how most people play options. Most people don't actually exercise their options. It's very rare unless someone is getting close to their expiration and it's so far in the money that they rarely exercise an option. So it's just basically a multiplier when it comes down to it. So, especially on like bigger stocks like Tesla and things that the normal retailer is not going to buy 1,000 shares or have the capital buy 1,000 shares, they're basically paying the premium for the price of the spread, and that's where they make their money. So, usually a lot of people do play lower charts or, but, I typically tend to play bigger caps with options because that's what I'm trying to make the price of the difference of the stuff that I don't want to go buy 1,000 shares or 10,000 or, whatever the equivalent in contracts, but I want to make the difference. So, it's, definitely, I'm sure we can have a different class sometime explaining more, in depth of having someone pick out a chart and explaining how we would play that specific chart. It might make someone understand it because they'd be more correlated to understanding, that exact chart that they want to play and how it would play out. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I understand a lot what you just said, but one thing you made me realize was that I didn't have to go all the way to the expiration.
Oh no. See, I don't even play in the money. I'm a strictly, very rarely would I play an in the money option. If I had, if I was an institution or someone that was maybe a long-term investor, but still even then, I don't, very rarely would I want to play. The positive to being in the money and being deep enough in the money is your contract literally. So if I paid, say, $100 for contracts for Tesla that are far enough in the money, and I think Tesla's going to go up or down, whatever way I choose to play. If I'm far enough in the money, it doesn't matter. My contracts basically don't lose money. The premium form loses very, very, very little if you're far enough in the money. So it's a very safe play being far in the money because your contracts pretty much hold their whole value, short of depending how far out you are. But you're definitely paying a pretty big premium versus playing out of the money, which I prefer. And you're definitely not going to make. So playing in the money, you typically aren't going to make as high as returns, even if it does continue up. But it is safer in a sort of way. Unless you fall out of the money, then it can become pretty dangerous quickly. But yeah, you definitely don't have to get in the money with playing options.
Okay. And you're talking about calls right now, not puts.
Calls or puts, It doesn't matter. Both directions. In theory, when you buy a put, it's shorting, but it's not actually shorting. It's the right to sell something. So it is like shorting. It's equivalent to shorting, but it's not technically shorting. So shorting a contract would be me literally selling it. So me selling calls or me selling puts. That's technically shorting it. But yes, in theory, playing puts when you expect it to go down is basically equivalent to shorting something. So, but yeah, it does either way. It works for both calls and puts. How I said it.
Okay, I got it. Thanks. Is this Rich answering the questions?
No, nope. The Stock Odin.
Oh, okay, good, great. So I can know who to talk to next time.
I don't think I've ever met anybody or ever seen anybody exercise the option.
Yeah, very very rarely. I mean, obviously, like a lot of people exercise their Teslas back in the day because I mean, when you went from whatever Tesla was $100 stock and then it ran up to $1,000 stock, you know, that would be exercise worthy. You know, especially for long term holders, I'm sure, and institutions, and you know, some people do it, but it's you know, and that's what's going to cause squeezes too. When you get enough people, you know, actually truly exercising options. But yeah, it's still pretty rare for someone to exercise an option unless they had some far out, and they're so far in the money now that no one wants to buy them. Because there comes a point that no one's really going to buy them because they're so far in the money they can just go buy shares basically, or buy, you know, different contracts. But yeah, it's super rare for someone to exercise.
I mean, if you're gonna exercise a Tesla option, you're talking about like $67,000 for one contract.
Well, yeah.
So,
Well, it depends. Like I said, way back in the day, like you know, what I'm saying
yeah,
people
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah, for sure.
had $150, you know, contracts, and then you know they were $150 for 2,000 whatever, and then it ran.
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I'm
for
saying?
sure.
Like those people most likely exercise contracts. Now you know it's different when Tesla's you know $800 to $1,000, and then you know exercising contracts. That's a whole different ballpark. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's a massive. But yeah, I mean, you just kind of got the gist of what I do and what I look for. As far as like more questions, I can't answer questions if nobody's asking any of them. So if you don't have an idea or don't know an idea or just want to ask a question that you're confused on, please do so. That's at the end of the day why we're here. But if nobody has a question, then Odin, do your thing.
I have a question. So, like, as a more younger, inexperienced trader, what should you like work on first?
In my
That's a
opinion, I mean,
yeah.
obviously we have different types of traders here, and you can get with other people and kind of get a suited game plan for yourself. But for my for my idea, you should understand candles first, what each candle means, because they don't individually they don't mean really much, but they do. But collectively they mean a lot. So understanding candles would be a first place that I would look at, and then second place I would look at is demand and supply. If you get an understanding of demand and supply in candles, you're better off in a situation. Then after that, look for channels. Those are the three lineups I would go as far as like where to start.
What kind of trader exactly are you trying to be to begin with?
I have no idea. Honestly,
So I would obviously look up scalping, day trading, swinging, position trading, and then long term. And
Oh, you meant it in that way. Okay, yeah. Okay, my bad. I didn't know you were like which direction. I thought you meant like what to study. My bad.
well, I think he was,
No.
but I'm asking him what kind of trader he wants to be because that's directly where I would say to start. If you're a long term investor, yes, charts matter, but charts don't matter as much. You know, like
At
if
all.
that's
Yeah.
digging into a company, finding out if it's niche, what their financials look like, do they have an edge over their competitors? That's a whole different style of trading versus scalping or day trading or swinging. Those are swinging is going to be off news, and day trading is swinging is going to be off pivot points, and I guess it really just depends. That's kind of why I asked you what you want to do, because if
That is true.
that's going to help me be like, okay, well, you should start here or you should start there, because I would take two different approaches to the way I trade. Like here in a minute, I'll show you guys charts of things that were plays that I picked 2-3 weeks out, and now they went boom. You know what I'm saying? But I took a totally different approach to them than I do for day trading. So it really starts there, kind of figuring out what style of trading you want to do, and then from there you can kind of get the advice of where you should start. So I would look all those up: scalping, day trading, swinging, position trading, and long-term investing.
I guess that kind of comes like with your personality, because like if you're more prone to risk, you want to take it a different style. Not saying that you're more prone to risk, but like you could handle like prices movements and not have too much stress on it. Then you want to look at a different style. But if you're like more of like, as soon as the dollar goes to $5, you start sweating and really like you know start biting the bullet really quick. It kind of comes down to personality, I would say.
Well, here's the thing, man. Do you have time to sit in front of a computer every day, Platinum?
Depends.
Okay,
Depends
well,
on
so then you're probably going to start out with something like swing trading. If you can't sit at a computer screen for at least a couple hours a day, or at least an hour a day, you're probably going to go into swinging. You need at least 15 to 30 minutes for scalping, because you need to find a chart, you need to watch it for at least 15, 20, 30 minutes to see how it's moving, because each stock has its own personality. That's why I'm real big about option trading wise. You really pick 3 to 5 charts that you're going to play mainly. Those are going to be your main charts. Really about 3 to 5. And then you can incorporate other ones too. It's kind of like lotto play, not necessarily lotto plays, but you want to learn those 3 to 5 charts and how they move, because each one has its own personality, and you'll learn these charts and how they move, and that'll make you trade them better, both swinging, day trading, everything when it comes to them. So it kind of depends if you get enough screen time each day. If not, you're probably going to lean towards the swinging. I highly doubt any of you guys will be doing position trading, so we'll kind of rule that out. Most people kind of, which I guess some people do, but it's in between swinging and long-term investing. It's usually a couple months at least. And I put swinging more anywhere. Some people call it even overnight, which I really don't consider one day hold a swing. We tend to call it that, but it's more of like a multi-day runner, or a pullback, or however you're playing it. Typically I think of a swing at least 3 days to a few weeks, and then so you figure that out, and then you you can come back and ask that question in main chat sometime.
Okay. Like, I definitely could dedicate like a few hours every day.
Okay. Well, see, so what you do the night before is you obviously chart out your charts, your main levels, kind of like what Stork showed, and then you're gonna watch it play. Say you're not there for open, but say you get back by noon, lunchtime. You're gonna be able to see how it played off your chart, if it stayed in your zones, if it bounced off certain zones, whatnot, and that's going to help you be able to pick up in the chart. You'll want to typically watch the chart for 5 to 10 minutes, and being a new trader at least too, you're not going to typically just jump in it from the moment you open your chart. And you could definitely day trade. It kind of depends on your approach too, because depending on your account, if you're playing a cash account or a margin account, that's going to depend because you only get three day trades a week if you're under PDT off a margin account. And then if you're cash and you're playing shares, obviously you're limited to your actual buying power. So if you have $1,000 and you go all in with $1,000 and you cash out and say make 20%, so now you're at $1,200. Well, you have to wait the day that you cashed out. The following day you can't buy anything, and then the next day you can. So it's 2 days until you can technically with a cash account. So with options, if I buy something today and I sell it today, when I wake up in the morning, my account will be refunded with the money that I made. So, but with PDT, you only get 3 day trades a week. So if I buy something the same day and I sell it the same day, that counts as a day trade. And if I do it more than once in one day, it counts as a day trade. So you can burn through all 3 days in one day, or all 3 trades in one day easily. So.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. If you're like kind of near, I highly suggest you go with like a cash account. I don't particularly like margins. I think it's a market tool for them to to screw you over. So if you start with a cash account, but it kind of depends on how much money you have to. So.
Yep. Any more questions?
Would you say like if you had $1,000, like how would you like
Cash account. Cash account.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
cash account. Yeah, I wouldn't do a margin because
Well, first off, it's worthless until you have at least 2,000, because almost every broker requires you to have $2,000 to have access to the actual margin. Yes, you can technically have a margin account with $1,000, but if you're actually using the margin, it's not even available until you have $2,000. So it's kind of a waste of time.
on E-Trade, I believe it's 1,200, and then on Webull, I know it's 1,500.
No, I'm pretty sure it's 2,000 in Webull. I don't know E-Trades because I've never used them, but TD, IB, Interactive Brokers, and Webull were all 2,000. I was pretty sure that it's a FINRA rule, or they passed
Yes,
it. I'm
you're
not
right.
100.
Yeah, okay.
You're right, because I have 2 accounts. I have IBK, which is International Brokers, and I have Webull, and I have Fidelity, and all of them are 2,000 before you get a margin.
Yep.
Okay.
And here's another warning for people that don't know. I found this out from TDA. I think it was about a year ago they changed it. If you do violate your PDT, you're only forgiven one time, the lifetime of the account. It used to be that they could reset it, and you could get a couple, and then they would restrict it. But they changed that. FINRA now made it a law that you're only allowed one forgiveness per account. So even if I say had a Webull and I violated it, and then they forgave me, and then I violated it again, if I close that account and reopen it, it would still have to fall under the PDT rule, meaning that it wouldn't be able to be used as a account unless it was funded for 25,000.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. They don't really tell you all the new rules when they change it. Any more questions before we move on?
How do you determine the strength of those horizontal lines that you drew? Do you look at volume or recency, like or number of touches, or how do you, as you're looking at it and watching it on the 1 minute chart?
Well, I mean, a stock just doesn't. I mean, unless it's like horrible outcome news, it just doesn't fall off a cliff. So it has to go, in a pattern. And it goes in a channel down, hits a resistance, bounces, channels down. So, if tomorrow a nuke was set off, then yeah, you might see a sharp decline. But on a typical stock market, say 95% of the time, it just goes in patterns. So The way I guess let me put my screen back on so I can kind of show it a little bit clearer, I guess. Okay, here we go. Share screen. So for what did I do? Okay, I was there. So to see why is a channel, I mean, it's basically a channel until it isn't. So you kind of have to understand where pressurization in the market will be. We're on Ethereum. I guess we could do Ethereum. Chart is a chart. Doesn't matter what chart it is. So, I mean, you see there's big incline of charts that, I mean, not charts, but channels. They're basically where the most bounces came off of the top. There you go. There's the most bounces that came off of the top. So this is the outer band channel, and every channel that runs, it always runs in parallel. It just has different volumes of its parallel. So you can see that there was midline bounces here. So it was either respected or rejected at these levels, these little point levels throughout the chart. If we go here, the same thing here. It was respected or rejected. Same thing here, respected or rejected. But when it broke through, it went to a different band of the chart, and now it's working on the top over here. Either respected, jumped up, and it fell back down, but it always respected this line until it broke out here, and then it respected this line. So if you're looking at a channel, you can kind of have a better idea of entry and exit based on a chart. So if, say, example, I'm getting in, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, and it starts falling here. I'm like, okay, so there's different outer realms of a channel that's working in progress. So me as a as a as a very strict trader, because I don't like to just buy just to buy. Some people like to buy just to feel good about buying, but I really hone in on making my compound theory work. So when I'm looking at this chart, me myself here, I would take a lot of these bottoms ones, knowing that it may fall here and I could average down. But in case if it falls out of this little band area, it may work on a bottom barrel. So let me draw this one here. It may work on a bottom barrel, but in the past it told me this bottom barrel was kind of gone until it collapse came. So I would never play this bottom barrel again because this is where this little area was always respected. So if I'm getting into a trade, every time it touches here, I'm calling it. And when it goes up, I'm not waiting for the full band on top of here because it's not much of a, even when it touched it, it was like quick touch bounce. It was like as soon as it hit the roof, it fell right back down. So when I'm getting here, I'm trying to sell here on the top of the bands. In case it doesn't work and I get into a call here for this situation, I'm looking for this for an average down and this point as an average down for the next move up. But if it doesn't work here, I'm getting out of the call. That's where risk management comes. Because if it works and if it breaks through, like if it hits here and it breaks a little bit and goes back up, I'm not gonna load on it. I'm just gonna wait till another pressurized point to get a put. So once it hits here and it comes down to these bottom barrels, if it bands up here and it's doing the wave right here, but there's a little pattern that it gives you that I like about this pattern is a little head and shoulder, the left head and right. So once it does this little top move here, I'll take it average down. Come down here, I probably wouldn't ever sell it here because really there's no money in it if you're trying to swing a option. But if you're trying to scalp them, then yeah, I mean these are like five. If you're doing an option, they're 5-10%. So if you're trying to, if you, it's your kind of what your theory is, what you're trying to do, what your style is, and what your point is. If you're trying to get like 5, 10 quick percent moves, then these are type of moves you want to play. But these type of moves, they're quick, so you better have hotkeys. A setup system at home where it's one buy call, one buy sell. You can't like on Weeble buy it, go to the next screen because by the time you do all this, it's already back down. And then by the time you're trying to get it sold, it's back up and you're selling on a negative. So what I'm trying to do in this kind of situation is swing it for the possible downside. So once it hits here, comes down, I won't sell it here and I'll wait for the next movement. If it breaks down and hits this bottom bell, then I'm looking for an exit. But in options, you waiting for here, this little move sometimes doesn't really pay a big difference. Like, for example, if it comes down here and it's at 73 cents a contract, if it comes down here, it would be like a 78 cents a contract, which is a big difference, don't get me wrong, but it's not really that big of a difference for you to like risk a possible upside and then you're, out of the money again and you're stuck in this trade now. So it's kind of theory of what you want to do. But if I'm getting into here, I see the left, I'm playing these little bands, I see the right here, then I'm kind of having a theory, okay, so there may be a possible head and shoulder. So once it comes down here, if I could get enough average down here and here, and it breaks down and if I'm in 10, 15%, I might look for a sell because you kind of see that there's a little area here that it was like really held up as a support line right here. So you're always looking for channel type moves, but at the same time you're trying to look for like support areas where it could bounce or reject from. And there's no perfect way. I wish there was a crystallized perfect way. It's just ways that you could make money in the market. So if I'm playing this channel, I'm just looking at the bottom bins and top bins. So, for example, here, I'm always trying to look to sell into these bottom bins. While it hits top of the band, I'm trying to average down. So if I'm playing this type of moves here, I mean, these are like, this is a different type of chart. This is Ethereum. But say if it was SPY, like a move like this is like $2-3 or $1, and then it depends on when you're buying the contract as well. Because, at 1 o'clock on a 0 DTE, you're going to get a better payout on this drop than you will at, 9 o'clock in the morning or on Thursday where it's 2-day contracts. So it kind of depends on what you're trying to do. So I would really try to get a game plan for yourself, so that way you know what to game plan for, if that makes sense.
Yeah, very helpful. Thank you for explaining that.
So
No problem.
What Stork is drawing is basically equivalent when his channels or whatever you want to call them really fall under what you would call a pitchfork. So
Yeah, it is.
so because they have more lines in them. Like a normal channel is just a channel, and then you have a center line typically. But if you use like a pitchfork, it's more like his. It has several like channels inside of the channel. So yeah, a lot of people like those pitchforks too. Is basically what it is. Yeah.
So yeah, any more questions? If not, then Odin, take away, brother. You're gonna show some stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Hold on. Give me a second. I gotta move.
Oh
this.
wait, cause I have a question. Like,
Shoot.
um, so like, when should you put like expiration dates on options? Usually, like,
When can you? What?
no,
Can
I
you?
Well,
mean like, when
I would.
should.
So if I like, not to sound rude, but I would worry about learning to trade shares way before ever learning to trade contracts
Facts.
because
100% facts.
contracts are something that have an expiration. So contracts are a lot to do with timing, um, and mentally knowing, okay, well, I can, I can make money even if it doesn't move 100% to where I want it to. I can still make money, but you need to like focus on just trading shares before you ever even think of trading options. Because most option traders, are good, would be decent or good share traders, because it takes timing more for option trading along with a few other variables. So I would definitely stick with just kind of worrying about the share side of things before jumping into the option game, or you will get absolutely wrecked. There's no question about it. And I'd
Okay.
hate to see you lose all your money because, as option traders, we've all done it. Especially getting cocky and thinking, oh look, I'm great, I'm this and that. I've been on this win streak, and then you get busted up. It's a whole different game because if your contracts expire worthless, you are left with zero amount of money, or the amount of money that you invested will just go poof. It's like burning. There's no like, oh, I can just hold this and then eventually it'll come back. It's just never coming back. You don't get bags. You just watch them burn. So yeah, I wouldn't
And
even
he
focus
doesn't
on.
really mean to be rude either. He's really telling the truth. Like, practice really on shares because these options, they are very high risk. If you don't know what you're doing, you have to understand the longer you hold a contract, the more you're going to burn. IV, apply volatility, and data is just going to crush you. And you need a major move at that point for you to actually make money. Learn shares. It sounds like an asshole way to say it, but it's not. Because really, that's your best interest.
Yep.
So like, when would you say that like you're prepared, kind of?
Well, when you actually win in the market with shares and you fully understand how to trade them shares the right way, then you can consider option trading. But I would say you're gonna need definitely several months at minimum before I would even consider it. Really,
It
probably
took me
longer.
4 years, brother. It took me
Yeah.
4 years. Just realistic. It took me
But a
four
lot of the
years to
people
trade
that
options.
think that they're good now, that have been trading for a couple months and they think they're doing, will soon find out that they're not as great as they thought they were. I don't mean that in a rude way, but it's just a truthful way. You can be good and be on a lucky streak or be um, doing great, and sometimes even if you're in a winning trade, it can all go away in the matter of the next day opening. So I would definitely just focus on shares at the moment, and then when the time's right, you jump into it. Um, but yeah, definitely.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna move on because we've already been on for a while. So I'm gonna go over a few things real quick. Just like how perfect for someone like you that's newer, how I can spot some setups and whatnot. So hold on, let me share my screen. Um, 1 second. So oh, come on. Why is it not moving? Okay, does everyone see my screen? Whoa. Does everyone see my screen?
No.
You can't see it at all? Oh, you
Can't
gotta
see it.
click on me. Yeah, you got to get off Storks.
It's a little blurry, but we can see it.
Okay, I see.
Okay. Yeah, let's go to. Well, let's talk about something like, because Stork played this as well. We have TBLT, Tough Built. It was kind of a short squeeze play. It had some super high short interest. They had a split here back in April, and it split and was around, I don't know, somewhere around the $20 to $22 range, and it's knifed the whole way down. I think we found it. Do you remember when we found it, Stork?
I got in at $2.35, 36 cents.
Okay. Yeah, you should have. So it was probably somewhere around here, I believe. And then, yeah, so it was on. Obviously, see here, I've got like an overall kind of, you could put trend lines for different, but just the overall, you can see it touches all these points. Boom, rejected. Boom, rejected. Finally, but yet we come into this basically what would be some sort of like pennant, like whether it be bullish, bearish, ended up being bullish. If you look here, you can see the RSI is slowly moving in a convergence. So it's moving the way we want it to go. And then obviously here we break out here, a nice clean breakout of the trend with a gap up, and then it come down, and it never even actually technically filled the gap, and then it's been running ever since, and then it really started running when we get this volume. So you've got this like volume shelf here. Obviously these are points to look for like support as well when you get a lot of volume here. So I expect this to well, actually I don't know, because I mean it's unpredictable, but most likely I do expect it to at least come back to the trend line, so about halfway of this candle, or if it goes further down, I expect somewhere around the 50 EMA on the 30-minute. I expect somewhere around this area to act as support down here. Might fill the gap here. So
It's kind of blurry. What's the price that you're pulling? Because it's very blurry.
$4.95.
yeah,
Oh,
that's
thank you very much.
495. But I mean, it's this general area. It's a good chance that it could. But then again, I mean, T-Bolt's or Tough Built's pretty strong right now. Obviously, if you get technical though, you've got some divergence here on the RSI, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it cannot continue up. But usually, when you get when the RSI or MFI stop being as strong, this is considered a divergence. So if we come up here and we touch here, but we go higher, but the RSI is not going higher, that's a divergence, meaning that there's a good chance that there could be a reversal soon. Oh, oops. Oops. Go away line. There we go. So, I mean, here's a good play. I mean, just look at the strength. It just, it comes up, it does its pullback, it's a little flag, pullback, and then, I mean, it just finds support, and that trend line right here is working out great for it at the moment. Yeah, I'd stick it to there. And so I would wait to see if it holds this right here. I mean, Tough Built could definitely keep going up. I mean, on the daily, it's got, we've already broke through what would be the 50 EMA. So I mean, there is a good chance that it could go back to its split before. I mean, I don't expect it to go straight up. That's not how it's going to work out. But I mean, it's
Did they ever find out the true numbers of the short float?
it is. It's. Oh no, I don't know, man. I don't think because there's no true way of knowing except for when the exchanges have to report monthly or whatever.
Right.
So it's
Right.
just the guesstimate in between there, and by the time you get the new one, it's out of date. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's a month behind. So I mean, there's no true way, obviously, short of like market makers and people like that and lenders knowing. But the way the system works is it's kind of rigged. So
Of course.
yeah, but I would expect it to be higher, like because it was on the threshold list. So anything on the threshold list is worth playing, in my opinion. If it ever hits the threshold list, it's worth a true short squeeze because that means that there's a bunch of failures to deliver. So it's definitely worth playing if you find anything on the short or on the threshold list. Um, so Tough Built was a good one. That's one that we had on our watch list for Sunday. I know Stork had it on his ideas too. And then like here, let's go to PayPal. This is something that I literally posted back in, what day did it say? July 4th, saying that why I liked it. It's and all that stuff. And this was a play that this is something that I started seeing divergences of the price and stuff. I had it at $71 is where I originally posted my idea. So here we have this like falling, it's getting tighter. It's kind of like a wedge getting tighter down here. And I basically
And
put
finished up with a reverse head and shoulder.
and then yeah, right here, I ended up drawing a line, like a little support channel line. This was the resistance. This was what I was calling the support for the moment. And we got this basically this first wave came back down, but didn't actually go any lower than before. So that's when bulls decided to come in. We come up here, we broke out, and then it kind of stumbled here on what would be the well, we're on an hour chart, but it would be equivalent to the 200 EMA on the 1 hour chart. And then obviously it's rode back up. It's filled the gap. There's a gap here that it filled. So I expect PayPal to obviously pull back a little bit. Hopefully to either the 50 EMA or even back down to here. I don't want to see it. It needs to bounce off this white line that used to be resistance and use it as support, in my opinion, to continue up. This is a longer term like position trade for me. I like PayPal. It's actually one of my favorite plays for longer. It's not really a shorter term. I mean, you could play it that way, but we're back at, I mean, it's just been absolutely devastated. So I mean, PayPal is back to what would be the trend line, the long term. I mean, it's at levels that were back in 2017. So, I mean, that's some serious, that's a serious, huge difference at a high of 300 some dollars down to, $70. Yeah, I'll take my chances on that one.
Is that weekly?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I like it. I mean, I'm not saying it's going something stupid up here, but I like it back to, eventually if it can get there to I definitely think it'll go right here. I have a bigger line to the 90 range. It'd be pretty sweet to see it, maybe slightly higher than the 90s, but I'm thinking it'll go the 90s. So this is definitely a play for me. Same
On that
here
weekly, if you could go back to the weekly. Yeah, on that one, if it runs up and it hits that top of that red bar, lower it down a little bit. Yep. If it hits that and then rejects this and come back to that white line you have,
Yeah, down
yep,
here.
yep. It'll create a nice little reverse head and shoulder. That would be a beautiful play.
Yeah, I
If,
mean it
that's
might,
plays
it might not. Obviously here we've got on the weekly, we kind of rejected what would be the obviously this right here is the 9 and 8 EMA, which would be equivalent right here would be the 13 EMA. So we kind of rejected the 13 on the weekly. So we'll see. It definitely, we filled the gap, so it would be nice for it to finish like you said. But yeah, right here is where I expect us to have a little bit more trouble. Maybe even a little higher here, somewhere around there should be
nah.
another resistance around 95. So, but yeah. I mean, PayPal, in my opinion, it's kind of somewhat recession proof because their business is built off a lot of sending money from peer to peer and transactions, and they've already been beat up, you know. So yeah, I feel like it's something that I don't mind actually kind of putting in for somewhat of a like a longer play, couple months, and just averaging in and out of the plays. Obviously, here we have Tesla. Originally, this was supposed to be like a symmetrical triangle, and I had it labeled that way, and it really is a symmetrical. But then it kind of rejected here, and became more of like a pennant. Some would call it like a bearish. It ended up being a bullish pennant, but really it could have been bullish, bearish, or whatever. It ended up breaking out here, as we see, and it hit my target of 820. And then I had a second target of 855, which has not been filled. I think its high was like 834 or something today. I do expect, and I would hope to see that. I would hope to see that it's got a gap. Tesla's got a gap right here at the 855 around the oh wait, no it doesn't. Where was I seeing a gap at? Could have swore I saw a oh, maybe it doesn't. I could have swore it had a oh, maybe not. I thought it had a gap right here. I don't know why. But I'm still, I think the 850 still would be nice to see if it can hit around the 855 level. So we'll have to see next week. But I mean, it's small patterns and things that you see. MAs, the reason MAs, I use them, but it's a lot of it's because the reason the sky is blue is because we all think it's blue. So when you use a lot of similar things as other people, you know how things are going to play out, or not necessarily how they're going to play out, but it gives you more an edge of obviously realizing what other people are doing, because a lot of the way charts even play are clearly off technical analysis. That's how day traders are going to trade them. People are using trend lines, people are using EMAs or MAs, things like that. So when you use those patterns and recognitions of things, you're going to be able to have an edge of seeing where things are going to reject. You've got things like that. I typically don't necessarily I do like the 200 too, but mainly like I really like using, especially on the daily, like if you look at a daily well, I don't know, does Tesla play out this way? This is a daily chart on Tesla. As you can see here, the whole time when it was bullish, it rode this cloud here is a 5 EMA, the upper top part. The center line is a 9, 8 and 9, and then the bottom is a 13. So typically it rode this 5 line above it, and then here, like say it tests the 9, road kept riding it, and then right here would have been your question if you were using it on a daily format. If you're using EMAs, would be the time to get right here. We had this like doji that sat on the 9. It would make you question, being in the play on a daily if it doesn't hold the 9, and then boom, it went right through it. And here we never really held it again. It never had that thick cloud, and we started turning down to the 50. So my favorite like EMAs in general would still be like obviously the 5, the 9, and the 13. For like if you go here to like a say 1 minute chart though, that's when I do have to use the 200 EMA in replacement, because like on a 1 minute the 5, 9, and 13 aren't necessarily reliable enough if you're using cloud or EMAs. And then the 50 usually is pretty decent, but as you can see here, I mean, we hit it, but we kind of still rejected this 200, and then we rejected it again here. So I mean, EMAs and stuff, they're just for visual references, because other traders are using them too. I wouldn't necessarily base my trading around it. I'm really big into patterns though too, like harmonic patterns, which we're not going to get into because a lot of you are brand new to trading, so you don't even know what I'm talking about. They're posted in the EDU section if you ever want to look into them though. I'm not going to pull them up this time because we've already been on here for a while, but yeah, I mean, does anyone have any questions maybe to help, explain how I use anything or chart? Like, I don't have any lines, a lot of my stuff charted on here at the moment. I don't need to. I had posted my watch list, and 4 of my 5 plays played out this week. I had Tough Bill, PayPal, Tesla, and what else was it? I don't remember. Affirm. Those were the 4 of the 5 hit. So obviously I came with a plan, and I mean, the whole market was bullish, so it worked out in my favor. But yeah, I don't know. Does anyone have any questions or no?
How do you look for opportunities or large patterns? I think earlier you had said you focus on 3 or 5 stocks or something like that.
So yeah, I mean, I play SPY. I play a lot of 0 DTEs and short-term contracts on SPY. I'm not a big fan of playing them. I'm not a big fan of playing them for like longer term. SPY does a lot of like, well, shit. Here, let's look at a SPY chart. I mean, look at SPY. Look at this area, right? Do you think that's something that I really want to hold? Much more than a day or two. I mean, it's nothing but Gap City. I mean, everywhere in the chart at the moment. So you kind of got me effed up if you think that I'm gonna hold something like that. Unless I'm buying, like say months out. Which listen here, I'm not paying $30, $40 for a contract. You can take some lottos to hold overnight, but yeah, I don't. So when it comes to the SPY, I'm pretty much a 1 DTE or 0 DTE person on those, because I like to play a lot of reversals or whatnot on that. So I'm not, like I said, when it comes to there, but like, so I have a list. You might be able to see it here. And then I've got like my main watch list, and like I'll have anything that's SPX related right here. Any kind of big tech, Apple, Microsoft, Google, I keep here. And so when I play SPY, as you can see up in my watch list or up on my different tickers that I have up here, I always keep Apple and Microsoft. Those are the two main ones that I keep open for playing SPY to see how they're moving. I've learned to kind of watch and see. So Apple could run up like say 1.5%, and Microsoft could do the same, and SPY might not follow right away. It might kind of lag, and then you'll see Apple and Microsoft pull back, just like a normal regular pullback. And then when it starts to go again, doesn't even. So say Apple went to 1.5%, SPY didn't do a whole lot, and say it pulls back to say 0.6%. Well, as soon as Apple starts to move it all again towards the right direction, you'll see SPY finally starts to correlate or follow it. And so I've learned to, watch these two tickers a lot. So, but I've got my big tech here. I've got semiconductors, all grouped into semiconductors. I've got my financial tech, Affirm, PayPal, American Express, Visa, MasterCard. I've got my oil here, U.S. oil, futures, United States oil funds, anything oil related, some oiler people like Patterson UTI, so oil drillers. I like to watch all these. I've got the whole RV industry, which is junk. Metal, anything metal. I like metal. I like metals. So I've got new and STLD. STLD is local to me. That's like the Fort Wayne area. So that's
UNRVs, bro.
Yeah. And then medical, I keep Zimmer Biomet. This is where I'm from. So I know, I like to keep both these on mine because where I'm from was originally is the capital in the world for orthopedics. So obviously J&J is big into orthopedics, and so is Zimmer Biomet. And then I've got my resources like CF and CCJ, Lyce. I kind of try to keep things grouped, and then I have random stuff down here that I add that I haven't really, just to watch them. And I have other watch lists as well. So I go through my watch list, I, chart some of this out, and then I'll get on like FinViz or anything else, when people look at charts, that's a good way too. I get real lazy wanting to go find charts. So I play a lot of the charts that I already have because I know them. But if someone points good charts out to me, like I have a buddy, man, he used to be really good at pointing out charts to me. I literally, for new, when new was at its max, I don't even remember its high. I literally got the top of this. Literally got the top on CF2 because people point these charts out to me and it helped, but I'm not going to go search every chart in the world. So, when people post ideas or like, hey, TSO, check this chart out, I'll go check the chart out. And if I like it, I'm like, yeah, dude, great. Awesome. Thanks for pointing this out, and I'll pick a direction on it. Otherwise, I kind of tend to stick to my few charts that I play, obviously Tesla. And well, I don't play a whole lot of Tesla. I'm starting to play it a little bit more versus what I used to. So, FinViz, things like that. But, having a lot of other people around help too, to see, them post ideas, or people, like I said, I have no issue, and I don't really see it a lot in here, is people don't post charts, and like, what do you think of this, or what do you think of that? That's a good way to find new charts when people do that, and get, especially for some of you newer people, you see a chart, man, don't feel stupid. Is it good? Is it not good? You got to learn somewhere. So if you pull it up and post it in, main chat or whatnot, or the charting analytics, and tag me, I'll check your chart out and see what I think of it. I might be like, don't want to be in it, or I might be like, dude, awesome, great play, thanks for pointing it out. I'm gonna play it myself, So I'm all for other people posting charts. Don't ever think your idea is stupid. It doesn't really have to be that way. We can all make money together. So, but like I said, I'm really big into patterns. So I'm not gonna bring up my harmonic patterns right now. We've already been on too long to go over those. I will eventually want to do a class on harmonic patterns, and I have a bunch of overlays that I made that you can put on your chart, copy and paste them. They're clear, and you can match them up with your chart to see how harmonic patterns play out. And that's one of my niches in trading, is I'm really big into pattern recognition, so, and how they play out. It gives you an upper edge, in my opinion, because algos love to use harmonic patterns, especially on bigger caps. So yeah. Anyone else with some questions? Maybe.
I have a question again. Do you use any scanners?
Yes.
And if so, which ones? Which ones?
I do have Trade Ideas scanner, and I do have Trade Ideas. Obviously, have you ever heard of that before?
Yes, I heard that one.
Okay, so I do have that. I do normally, so I do work during the day, so I do have a normal job, and I trade full time too. So some people are like, "So do you trade full time?" I'm like, "Yeah." Well, then you work. How do you trade? Like, so it, a full time trader might only take 2 trades a whole day to begin with, and I usually take, obviously more than 2 trades. It's just, it works out perfect for my schedule because I'm really mainly an options trader to begin with, and it helps me from over trading as well. So, because if I'm here all day, I can just sit here and, the more you trade, the more chances you just give it back as well. So, you don't need to make 100 trades in a day. Sometimes 1 to 2 trades if they're big winners, and if you get a big winner, walk away. You know what I'm saying? I personally myself have too many times handed money back from making winners and then turn around and handing it back. So, but I do use Trade Ideas as a scanner, and I as well have Option Flow, which I use like whale streams for. So those are my 2 main things to scan for. But as much as I hate to say it, for paying for subscriptions, I don't use them a whole lot. I'm kind of a chart player, so even I don't necessarily always follow the flow when it comes to option flow. It can be very misleading and confusing to people, and I think institutions and people have picked up on that. And as much as I think option flow can be right at times, you have to truly sort it to get the right answer, because you could be like, oh, look how much money's going into puts. Well, they might be going into puts, but you got to understand what the strikes and the dates and all that stuff and correlate it. That doesn't necessarily mean that all the big money's flowing into puts or calls. So it can be misleading at times. So I don't always necessarily find the flow. They can be good for finding tickers that normally don't have a ton of option flow on them, and then bam, here it is. It can be great for that, but I don't necessarily always use it for SPY. A lot of contracts actually are used for hedging, so you'd kind of want to look more for Apple and Microsoft to look at their calls and puts for the true direction of SPY, because a lot of hedging is done on SPY with puts and calls. Anyone else? I'm sure everyone's probably tired now since we've talked all year.
Do you not like Bazinga?
Oh, for like news or for a scanner?
Well, their scanner. Well, I check it out on the news all the time.
So
but,
I think Bazinga's good for its news, but I kind of think Bazinga's kind of a waste of money. That's just my personal opinion, because most of the news you can get Bazinga wise, you can get from, even if you don't trade TOS, you can download the app, and you literally, I'll have to show you guys sometime. I can literally create a news scanner, like a scanner that literally can scan for, in my opinion, almost better than what Bazinga can do. Break it down into like delistings. And I can have it all on the screen, all at one time, with like news with delistings, obviously news related to any kind of big tech, anything. So I honestly don't use Bazinga. I know a lot of people that do, and some people like it, but I think it's awfully pricey for if you use it, don't take it personal, a half-ass scanner. It's mainly a news source, in my opinion. But some people like it, and I get that. But I think coupled, using either FinViz, I will say that I like, which I've let my subscription lapse, is Ortex. Ortex is probably my favorite if you're gonna go for a scanner outside of a true stock scanner like Trade Ideas. Ortex is by far very worth its money in my opinion. They have some trading signals on there, and I would never say jump into their trading signals. You have to look at their trading signals and then match it up with the chart. And certain signals are more valued than others. I really like EPS signals from them. Obviously, some of their short squeeze, but you just can't just be like, oh, they sent out a signal, jump into it blindly. No, I have to scan through them and I'll pick the ones that I like. But a lot of their signals are actually really good signals too if you know how to play them. Just because it says buy, it's a buy or it could be a potential buy doesn't mean go buy it the next day. It'll have its recommended holding time and all that, but that's really irrelevant. You just it just brings you attention to the chart that has potential. And I'll tell you right now, they've put out a lot of good signals.
That's Ortex, right?
Yeah, Ortex. I mean, and I saw some people write some shitty reviews, and I'm just like, dude, you're retarded. You probably shouldn't be trading if you don't just if I say, okay, this is a great stock, I would hope that you just don't go out and buy it just because I said it's a good stock. Or you as well still have to look at something and be like, okay, I see, just because you see a good EPS signal or, you see earnings per share coming up or something, that doesn't just mean the next day it's a buy. It might drop $5 to $10 still, depending on the so-said stock price. It's just giving you insight to what is coming. But yeah, if I could recommend, that would probably be one of the top. At times I use Ortex probably more than what I actually use any of my other scanners. I would say Ortex is probably really, if you want the truth, probably my number 2 or my number 1 go-to overall. I just actually haven't renewed the subscription. I need to actually. But I mean, Trade Ideas too. For momentum trading and day trading, Trade Ideas, really good for any kind of possible day trading to swinging. Ortex is really good, and then obviously whale streams for option trading. That's the 3 that and then FinViz. That's free. FinViz is
right,
free.
right.
But Ortex, I said, is definitely, in my opinion, worth it. I think it's like 700. So they have different tiers of it now, but I in my opinion think it's definitely, and I normally wouldn't really rep something like that, but in my opinion I found it very useful, so I definitely will have to shout out to Ortex for that.
I don't know a lot about the Ortex, but I've always asked someone information and can they give it to me on Ortex. So
yes. So like their short squeeze data and their short scores and things like that. Is that what you? Yeah. Yep, that's definitely so their news is kind of lacking, like versus somewhere like Benzinga or something, but that's where once again, you've got so many free tools when it comes to news, that's why I'm also not that big of a fan of a Benzinga. FinViz has news, Yahoo has news. I mean, you've got so many sources of news, and then really, if you've got TOS is secure in general, because if you know how to use their news, I don't have it pulled up right now to give you the exact name of what button to push to make it like a straight up news outlet. And you can separate that screen. So like someone like me that actually has 7 monitors, I've got plenty of room to run charts and news and everything else that one screen can literally be for just news scanning. So, in my opinion, I would never pay for Bazinga. Once again, I'm not really talking bad about them. I just feel like it's super expensive for their scanner. I know they offer a little bit more than scanners, or for a news, but in my opinion, it's still not equivalent to Ortex or anything else. That's Ortex's biggest downfall is the news side of things, in my opinion. But I
Yeah,
make it up.
Bazinga is expensive.
Go ahead.
No, I said you're right. Bazinga is expensive.
Yeah, it is, and I just don't feel you could spend your money elsewhere, whether it be Trade Idea scanner, or Ortex or something. And if any of you ever grab that stuff, I mean, I don't know if Rich has codes. I don't know if he's affiliated with them. So if he is, I'll have to get him to get everyone links to get discounts on any of that. I think he might use Trade Scanner or Trade Ideas. So if anyone ever does that, you might possibly be able to get some sort of a discount if you ever sign up for it. So.
Okay, yeah, I would greatly take.
I know
a
you can
discount.
get free trials for Trade Ideas and stuff. So if not, I can get you a link that give you a free trial or a like $7 for like a week or two trial for that. So, but I don't know if you've ever used it or not. But Stork, do you use any scanners or no?
Yeah, trade ideas.
Yeah. It's pretty much this. I mean, there's nothing that compares to Trade Ideas when it comes to an actual day trade momentum scanner. There's really not. I mean, there's other people out there, but none of them truly compared to what if you truly unlock Trade Ideas powers, not just their scanners, but you input your own codes, you can get some pretty powerful scans that will pick some nice plays up. We're losing people.
Oh, really?
Anyone else? Well, now we're down to 3, 6. We gained one person. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, we're 9 people in here now, so I'm sure everyone's getting tired. Anyone else? Anyone else got anything? You're the only one that's really you and Tigger. Oh, and I guess Platinum, the King too.
Because I trade every day, and
Yeah.
I want to become the best trader that I can be,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
get my
And that's
portfolio.
That's how you do it,
powerful.
asking questions.
I always say no question is a dumb question.
No, not really. I mean, unless you just ask the same question over and over. But short of that, yeah, no. I mean, there's really no dumb questions. A lot of people, which, I guess I don't hate that, but I really don't. When opportunities like this arise that we can jump on voice and talk, I would much rather talk something out than type it out, because I'm wasting time by typing it. So there's a lot of people that I've given opportunities to jump on voice and talk it out, and instead they prefer to try to DM me, don't even want to talk about it in public. So I have to kind of push them to the side at times, because when I'm trading during the day and they're DM me, ask me questions when they had ample amount of time to ask. You want help, you shall receive help. But if you want to wait when the opportunity's gone, I'm less likely to help someone out, because I've got to worry about me first. So when I give up my time to jump on voice, like Stork does, and that's the perfect time to truly ask questions, or if you don't understand something. And no one should really feel stupid if you don't know something. It's okay. We all been there. I just like Stork. I had absolutely no one to teach me how to trade. I had to completely come up with it. I didn't even social trade when I started trading. So it's only been like a year or two that I've started to get in the social side of things. So, I didn't have friends or know anyone to help me. So everything I learned, I had to learn on my own.
Yeah, man. Back when I started, it was like a secret society. Nobody talked about stocks, man.
Yeah, and I'm already. So by the time I got to social, I was already what I would say a seasoned trader. Like, I was already pretty much in my way of being, trading. Obviously I've had ups and downs like everyone, but most of my ups and downs had already, you know, been there by the time. So, I can always pick up new things to learn, just like everyone else. Every day, no matter how good you are, you're gonna learn something new. It's an ever changing game. Nothing's always the same. So, yeah, I like when people interact on voice, and it's not just me blowing hot air into a mic. Panting, going. So, yeah, I'm glad you at least spoke up and asked some questions.
I'm here. I think a lot of people, especially the new ones, they're shy. Sometimes they don't even know what they need to ask, but they're listening.
Yeah, they're listening. Yep. And then you'll get off conversation. Someone will DM you like, "Oh, well, yeah, I didn't want to get on the mic." No, yeah, it's all good. So you're short bias? Is that what you're saying? You're a short trader?
I used to be long all day
Yeah.
long, but
Yeah.
now I'm doing short. So when
Is
you
it?
pulled up tough built, I said, "Oh, I'm in tough built." And when you said that it was going to be, it may fall back down to in the fours. I already predicted that it would go down to like maybe 460 something, but I did get in high. So I'm
So
just
you
going to
are
ride
currently
it.
short or no?
Yes, currently short.
Yeah. Okay. So, like I said, I think that we could definitely see a strong, pullback on it, but, it's definitely, I don't know what the short interest is at the current moment. But it is a low float. It is a super low. I mean, pretty low float in general. I think it's only like 1 or 2 million, which is really not that many shares, in general. And then however short it is, it can definitely continue to squeeze. So that's one of those ones that it's kind of like quick in and out. The momentum's on the upside right now. Definitely can see a strong pullback. I 100% agree. I just, my personal opinion, I would 100% be careful with it, because I know Mike, Big Snipe Mike, he's a straight up short bias trader on small caps. And he openly has said he's got smoked a few times trying to short tough belt. So, like I said, definitely be careful with that, because that's one of those ones that but I do expect a pullback. It's just getting in that timing. I prefer to do it market hours first. Overnight can really, unless you're, you get the perfect position. But that's cool though, that to see, some short bias. So are you short bias just because of the market, or are you just becoming a short bias trader in general?
Becoming a short bias trader in general.
Okay.
Because I've been long for a while, so
Yeah,
I've been shorting.
Mike's that way too, and so I agree. Small caps are pretty. I'm not saying they all are, but a lot of them are straight up scams. They're literally just there to gamble. The company will never become anything. So, small caps are definitely short worthy. I'm preferably kind of a non-biased trader when it comes to like normal stocks or mid to large caps. I try to play both sides equally, whatever the trend or the chart says. Obviously, macro wise, I would say I'm more short bias at the moment, but overall on like short or on small caps, I would definitely be more of a short biased, I would say. But once again, I try not to be biased if I see opportunities like tough belt. Here we are, chances in the 2, and now it went up to $9. You know, we were calling tough belt out in the 2s, saying that we were going to play it back before we 100% came over here to this room. Before we started merging over here, we were talking about it in the other room, and you know, here it is, $9 now. You know, once it gets back up, you know, I'm 100% like, boom, let's knock it back down. So I try not to be biased, but I would definitely lean with you on tending to be short when it comes to small caps, unless they have true worth to them.
Yeah. Well, I got in. When it was let's see what I got. Well, I averaged 9. So now we're down to just at the close today 2. Not 2. I'm sorry, 7. I don't have my glasses on. 788. No, 7. Yeah, 786. So I'm just waiting for it to go down a little bit more, and then I'm out.
Yep, taking them profits. Yeah, so you'll definitely like following Mike. I would definitely watch Big Snipe Mike for plays. He's mainly scalping. Obviously, he's got a pretty sizable count, so he kind of just goes in heavy and quick. You know, sometimes 2 to 3, 5% to him is a pretty big amount of money, depending on the size he goes in with. But I would definitely watch Mike when it comes to small caps or penny stocks, especially on the short bias side. I would definitely follow him or watch some of his plays. I would definitely.
What's his name? You said
Big Snipe Mike. He's an analyst in here, so he's got a blue tag. His photo is a big M with a target.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's definitely the short guy you'd want to link up following and watching for his call outs. Are you subscribed to any of the alerts, or no, or are you new to the room, or are you new to the room?
I guess I subscribe, but I haven't really come into the room, and all of a sudden I happened to see this alert that came across my phone for this actual class here. And I said, "What? Have I been missing other things?"
Okay. Well, yes, there technically is different tiers in this. So the Discord as a general is free, but there is paid parts of the room too. So that's why you haven't seen a lot of the alerts, because some of the analyst alerts are part of. But the Discord is free, and some of some of the classes and things like that. So that would explain why you probably haven't seen some of the alerts too, because some of the analyst stuff is hidden to you currently.
And so I have to check that out and see.
How did you find the Discord?
How did I find Discord? The Trade Hub Discord?
Yeah, Trade Hub.
Through some of through Dizzy and through Moneybags and through Big Data, and because I go back and forth and I look at everybody's stats.
Okay, all right, yeah. See, some of these, yeah. I would definitely look into a membership, possibly. A lot of these guys are obviously Stork, me, Mike. We were all incorporated together. And a lot of the other analysts in here are really good too. If you look in the watch list too, like I'll post a Sunday watch list. If you look back into the watch list section called market watch list, I typically probably won't post a whole lot during the week, but I'll post like a Sunday what I'll watch going into the week. That's where I post it. Some people would post just random charts. I usually just put a list of my watch list, and then obviously I alert during the week. But I do know the watch list is 100% free. There is different tiers of of the Discord. So I mean, that's up to you if you want to check that out. But yeah, there is definitely a lot of good analysts in here.
Most definitely, I'll check it out. Cause I also have a membership with X Trades, so I have a lifetime there. So
Oh my goodness,
I'll,
that Discord.
yeah,
I
it's got crazy.
yeah, they spam every Discord. I got banned from there because I went in there asking them to stop spamming my Discord back in the day.
Yeah, I get it like 2 to 3 times a week.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, I got banned just for asking them to stop. I mean, it was at least 2 to 3 times a week. So that's wild. But here it's pretty nice. I actually think it's super awesome how set up this Discord is, because between all the bots that Rich and Meow have created, being the trade hub itself, the trading bot, along with the other bots they've incorporated in here, this server is locked down. Like it is good. It's easy if you want to report people. We can get them in a spam section real quick where we can actually, here comes Big Mike's in here right now. Perfect timing. We were just talking crap about him, and here he is.
Speaking of the devil.
No, but they've got it to where it's super easy. Like you report someone, we can put them in a spam role, and we can quarantine them and talk to them, and find out what their intentions are. So people aren't getting DMs of trying to get scammed or just posting links and things like that. Yeah, they've got it set up real nice in here. In the EDU section, you can check out stuff. I know I've got something posted. I'm going to post some more videos this weekend of how to navigate the Discord better, along with some of my active traders for TOS and Webull that I like to use. I'm going to redo them this weekend and get them reposted in here in the video section. And then, like I said, there's tons of EDU stuff that you can check out. My harmonic patterns are posted in the EDU with a chart that just shows a bunch of simple ones. And then if you click on the thread, it lists all of the transparent ones that you can download and post onto your chart. They're transparent, so there's no background, but it'll have the image, and you can match them up on your chart and say, oh, okay, that's a bullish Gartley or a bearish bat. And it'll let you know the direction that it's a good possibility it could go. I would definitely look into harmonic patterns and stuff once how long you been trading?
I like to say that I've been trading for like 6 years, but throughout the years prior, I haven't been an active trader. I just look and I follow and paper trade and when I have time. But I've recently been trading every day for about a year and a half now.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Like I said, the man that you would want to follow is right up there in the corner with that. I don't know if you can see the logos of all our different names, but would be the guy with the big M in his name with basically a sniper, Big Snipe Mike. So there he is.
What's up, y'all?
What up, man?
What you guys talking about?
Well, we were talking about you until you came in, then we had to change the subject, but
I know since I came in, my ears were ringing.
Yeah, we've been going pretty long in here now. I think we've been going for about we're
2.5
on
hours.
Oh my gosh, 2.5 hours. Wow. Yeah.
Yep.
Y'all are crazy.
We're crazy.
I'm just kidding.
And then what was I gonna say?
But
We're
fellas,
just
I gotta
going
go.
over like basic charting techniques, or
a little bit of a little bit of everything. Yeah, we've kind of went over a little bit of everything. So
I gotta
And then
put my
for
daughter to sleep, fellas. So I gotta roll out.
all right,
But
man, take it easy. And then for anyone that's
uh,
not signed up, if they want to sign up, there's a promo code
Okay,
for
great.
that. So I have it up on the screen, and I'll post it again in main chat. So, you know, Rich picks when the promo codes come out and all that stuff, but the forever thing sounds pretty sweet because I know there's a lot more big plans to come with Trade Hub too. Um, Obviously, active broker copy trading will be hopefully integrated, here in the future, which you would still have to. So, like, if I take a trade and you're like if you're following that trader, you would get a notification, and then it could set. You would still have to execute the trade, but it would be able to get it set up to be able to do it quicker. But clearly, legal reasons, the person would still actually have to hit a execute button and whatnot. But that's the future, obviously once everyone builds their stats up, and a lot of these analysts are really good traders. Like I said, Mike, he's really good at bagging me. I've lost at least 10 milli off of him. No, I'm just kidding. No, he's a really good trader. So, a lot of these guys I would personally myself follow into a trade if I'm not active. I'm not trying to trade 6-7 stocks at a time. So, but, if I've got nothing popping off, I mean, I would definitely, there's a couple guys in here that I would definitely follow into a trade. Obviously, with looking at a chart, not just like, okay, here, execute. So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah,
I was going to
definitely.
ask that question. I'm glad you answered that because I never really used. I signed up, but I never really used
The
the
bot.
alerts of. You're right, the bot, because I said I don't know
The
how it's
bot. Yeah,
working.
so you're signed up for the Trade Hub itself to be able to use the bot, which, another video will eventually here soon get posted. But unless you subscribe, I think, you don't actually get to see, like, the main alert channels. Like, there's swing, there's option, there's equity day trade, equity swings. There's, zero DTEs that, I post a lot in.
Some futures,
Obvious.
crypto.
Yep. Well, crypto, yes. Crypto is not 100% integrated into the bot. And with crypto kind of being, like, deadish right now, everyone's kind of not really into crypto. But it is getting set up right now to be able to do crypto into the bot as well. And obviously, there is crypto in here and a crypto analyst. But it will be incorporated more. And obviously, as crypto heats up, then when it does again, it'll definitely, have tons of, analysts alerting it. Just right now, it's really not that popping. So, but there's tons of alerts going out every day when it comes to either options and, Mike and Stork are covering a lot of equities. And, obviously, if you check out
I think like 100 trades plus a week. So
yeah, and if
there's
you're looking at
definitely
the
plenty of opportunity.
and if you're looking at the rankings, obviously you can see that a lot of us are up at the top, in the top 5, top 10. Obviously, me and Mike this week in general. I think. Well, actually, yeah, Mike, you're number 3 for the week.
Oh, am I? Cool.
Yep. I think I hit number 2. You were number 3, and I think Sig Chart was number. But I think he claimed a couple big bangers or something on options. I think that's what got him. And he was the week before. I think that's what. So it all led into the same. But yeah, we're you, me, and a couple other of the analysts were in the top 10. Well, I mean, we are in the top 10 for for the lifetime. But I meant this week, you and me are both number 2 and I was number 1 until I deleted my account and redid it. But and then Mike's moved up pretty quick. Now we just need to get now we just need to get don't know. Stork, what are you ranked right now? Do you know?
I'll tell you right now. Stork
Pretty new
is
exposure.
for
I
the
think
And
week
he's
I'm
in.
21.
Is he?
21, yeah.
Oh wait,
Yeah,
no,
he
that's
just don't.
30 days. That's 30 days. Hold
I
on.
only been here for a week,
For
so
the week, bro. For the week, he's 15.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, lots of good traders in here.
Tom Ikazi, he's number 1 this week.
Okay, and I was number 2, right? And you 3.
Yeah, I'm 3. Yeah.
Yep. And then lifetime, you're still up there too. I think I'm number like
Six,
4.
4, 5 is AI. Mr. Blunt is 6. ATM. Oops, I charted. So yeah, there's quite a
Yeah.
few.
Oops, I charted. Yeah, that's a good
Oh.
swinger right there. He's one of the
Solid.
elite analysts in
Vincent
here.
made number 10. Vincent's been up and coming. I've been watching him. He's solid too.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, Mike, anyone else? Anyone else got anything to say?
I just figured I'd pop in. I seen you guys were on here. I was kind of busy tonight, and I guess I caught the tail end, but I just figured I'd hop in, introduce myself, say what's
Yeah.
up to the crew,
Yeah.
and
We
if you
we
guys
had
need
some
any
more
help
people
or
in here.
need me,
We were definitely had more people, but I mean, we've been going for about 2.5 hours, and I mean, my time, I know it's
yeah, bro, it's 10 o'clock my time, so it's definitely late
Oh
your
yeah,
time.
it's 12:42
yeah,
my
we're on
time.
2 hours and 42 minutes, man.
Yeah, wild. I've recorded this whole thing too, video, and Rich has recorded it, voice the whole time. So we'll get that edited and obviously posted probably at some point. I'll send it to
So,
Rich to edit.
so the plan is we're gonna have another class tomorrow. So,
If so, if we do have another class or anything of this. Oh wait. When the monthly is it the monthly class? There's supposed to be a monthly class coming up with
What's
yeah, I
his
think
name? He wrote in there. I forget.
I was, when I asked earlier, a lot of people said that they couldn't make it today. So I figured tomorrow. But it's not, I don't want it to last 3 hours.
Papa Curry, is it him that's doing the?
who?
He posted in one of the channels today that he's giving class tomorrow. I don't remember his name. Starts with H.
Oh, hot.
Yeah, you're on that. Yeah, that's him. He said he was doing it tomorrow, but he didn't give a time. But in one of the channels I've seen it posted. I don't remember which channel.
Yeah, it was the main chat, but I don't know if we actually came up with 100% subject yet.
Okay.
Wait. So wait, hold on.
I appreciate what you guys are doing for us.
Oh wait, hold on. Stork is doing one tomorrow. Oh yeah, Hot Papa Curry is doing one. Is next week. Yep. Hot Papa Curry is next week. The lesson will be. Oh, never mind. That guy's posting. He's not in our chat right now. So, yep. So, anything? I guess we'll do one tomorrow. Maybe we'll come with a little bit more of a plan. Stork, do you know what you're doing it tomorrow on?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to more focus on the charts, but I know we kind of like the first days, when you like,
Yeah.
especially when you're new with a lot of people, you start to wander off. I kind of expected that.
Yeah. So, you want to go over some plays or like?
No, not like setups for next week's, but at the same time, like more chart understanding, because a lot of people, the newer people, they said they can't make it today. They could make it tomorrow. So I was like, fuck it, we'll have 2 days.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think going over some of next week's plays too is great because with that you'll be able to show how you charted it, how you came to that conclusion. So, people can ask, and it's kind of a 2-for-1 there. You're going over some plays that, you're looking into next week, along with, how you came to those conclusions, and then people can ask some questions. And for the people that can't talk, we can watch them, and we can watch, watch
Yeah.
market talk to see, have someone relaying some of the market talk and bring it up in voice. And hopefully we can, if we post it early enough in the day, a couple times, we can get a better turnout.
Yeah,
That'd be
yeah,
real.
yeah. I know it was like later on because by the time Rich replied, it was like late. So I figured less people going to show up, and then being new, you're gonna have like you all wander off the topic.
So what time the class is going to be tomorrow?
I usually do 9 p.m. Central. That way, everybody gets home. Nobody's, you know, some people work on Saturdays, so nighttime
Yeah.
usually allocation.
I'll be working
Yeah, see,
tomorrow, but I'm coming on.
you what? You're working tomorrow?
Yeah, but I'll be coming on.
Okay. Yeah, see, we're all at different or different times. So I'm on NY, or basically the stock market exchanges time, so New York time. So
Me too. I'm on the East Coast.
okay. See, I'm in Central, but Indiana still falls under that timeline. So yeah, so for me, 10 o'clock is what, 8 o'clock for you, Stork and Mike.
Nah, 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock.
Wait, what time?
So 10 o'clock for me is what time for you, Mike?
7.
Okay. And it's what time for
Yeah.
you,
Wait,
Stork?
you're Eastern, right?
Yeah, I fall under Eastern.
Like you're the same time as New York, right? 9:30
Yeah.
is the stock
Yep.
open for you. Yeah. Yeah, 7 o'clock is my time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm at 8 o'clock, so I'm in Texas. So
So, and you wanted to hold class at what time?
at 9 Central.
So that would
10
be,
What part of Texas you in, Stork?
That'll
Houston.
be 10 o'clock your time, Odin.
okay.
Yeah, that'd be 10 your time.
Okay. Well, I'll definitely make sure to bring my blankie and cozy up and sleep during class.
His baby Blanky.
Yeah, my banky.
We're gonna call you Linus.
I know.
Can you guys
Necro,
play?
he said tomorrow too, so he couldn't make it today. He had to work.
Can you guys play a kids movie
Sorry.
for me tomorrow?
The important thing I need to know. Are we talking AM or PM?
Yeah.
PM.
Yeah.
Good thing I asked. Because I was going to be there
Tomorrow's my
AM.
sleeping day. I'm not waking up past 12.
Yeah, most of these people are, don't want to probably sit online during, they've got doing things during the day. So yeah, usually most of our classes are, at least during the weekends, or the times that we jump on voice, are usually on the weekends late at the nighttime, so people can still go about their day. And I mean, some of these, I'm sure Rich, and even if they're not all video, the times that we jump on voice can be recorded and put into like an archive for the members, like the pro members to access or whatnot. I'm sure. Rich
Make
probably,
like a recorded classes channel.
Yeah, Rich would probably be down for making like an archive for the Pro Plus members to be able to access some of the classes and stuff that we've went over. So yeah, but I think that's it, everyone, right?
Does anybody else got more questions? I'm good.
I'm good. And everybody else who's on here, who they're afraid to ask questions. I
Yeah.
can't read your minds. I've tried to help you out and ask as much as I think you might need.
I mean, I think everyone in here's kind of talked, except for I think All Star's the only one that technically hasn't talked. And I know there was a lot more people in here that have drifted out because it's whatever time for them. If they're on my time, most people probably are wanting to go to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning. Plus, we've been going for a while. But yeah, so I'm good. I think I'm probably gonna cut the video part off now. So I hope everyone
good
has
night,
a
y'all.
good
All right.
night, and
And
we'll
thanks
see
so
you
much for
tomorrow.
all the